This video is going to review what we have learned in this outcome on budgeting. So below is a monthly budget for Margaret, who lives in Canwood, Sask, and commutes to Prince Albert, Sask. So we see that she has a salary of $4,000, she gets some commission of $355, and then she has some expenses. So the first thing we want to do is we want to classify the income as regular or variable, and the expenses as fixed or variable. So let's review what we learned. Well, salary is a regular income. She's going to get $4,000 each month. Her commission, however, is going to be based on how much she actually sells of her merchandise each month. So this is a variable income. That could change from month to month. Food is a variable income. Housing is typically fixed. Transportation is usually variable. Entertainment is variable. Cell phone, internet on a plan will be a fixed amount, and other is often variable. So now what we want to figure out is how much Margaret is going to save each month. So what we first have to do is we have to calculate her income totals and how much she's already spending in her expenses. So when we add up her income, she has an income of $4,355. And then if we add up her expenses so far, it's $2,090. So when we subtract the two of those, her income minus what she has already spent, she is left with $2,265 each month, which we can put into savings to balance her budget. So now if we want to figure out what percentage of her income do her savings represent. So we take her savings amount, $2,265, we divide by her total income, we get 0.52, and then we times that by 100 to find our percent. So we are saying she is saving 52% of her income. Tracy has kept track of her finances over the last 2 months. Averages for her income and spending are listed below. We want to create a conservative monthly budget for Tracy, and we're going to allocate any surplus to savings. So when we go through here, so she has paycheck of $660. So I'm going to make sure we don't miss anything. She has another paycheck of $660. She has tips of $345. She has some more tips of $225. And she's got yard work of $75. Now these may vary a little bit from month to month. So in a conservative budget, you may want to estimate a little bit on the lower side. So we could decide her paychecks are standard, those are fixed, but her tips and her yard work might be a little bit different. So maybe if we want to underestimate them, maybe we change them to 300, 200, and 50. So we're going, because we're doing a conservative budget, we often like to underestimate our values. So we're going to give her a total income of $1,810. So now what we are going to do is we are going to write down her expenses. So she had rent of $750, car of $235, food was $300, clothing is $215, loan of $150, entertainment $50, miscellaneous $220. So to see what we can put into savings, if there is any, we need to add up what we have currently. So I'm just going to do that here. and it's $19.20. So at this point, we are in the hole. So we're going to, in order to create a conservative budget, now remember we underestimated her income, so we have to look at some of these expenses that she has, and she's going to have to cut back in order to balance her budget, especially if she wants to put something into savings. So maybe we will readjust this, and we're going to cut some money out in her miscellaneous. She's going to try and cut down to $100. In her clothing, we're going to try and cut her down to $150. Entertainment, $50 is not a whole lot, and really her other expenses, there's not a lot of room to move on those. So let's see now, if we re-add these up with those changes, if she now has a surplus. So we're just going to add those up, and now she's spending $17.35. So now we're okay. We can determine how much she can put into savings now by taking her total income and subtracting this new amount, so she can afford to put $75 each month into savings for a balanced budget. So remember, conservative is underestimating her income. More than likely she's going to have more than $18.10, but we want to try and balance on a lower amount just to make sure that we could afford this. So now, how much will Tracy save in 2 months? Well, we're putting $75 aside, so in 2 months she will have saved $150. She wants to know if she would be able to afford a $65 purse that she wants to buy. So yes, she will have saved $150, so yes, she could afford it. Carrie currently saves 6% of her income. She saves $150 a month. How much would she save if she put aside 8% of her income instead? So the first thing we want to do is we want to find out how much money she actually makes in a month. So we're actually going to do part A and part B backwards here. So her total monthly income. Well, if she's currently saving 6%, so remember a percent is always out of 100, and that is the equivalent of $150 a month. We can figure out how much she makes in total by setting up a proportion. So we're going to get 6x equals 15,000. Then we're going to divide by 6. So we are going to find that she actually makes $2,500 per month. So now, if she wants to save 8% of this, 2,500 times 0.08 will tell us she will now save $200 per month. So now that has reviewed the majority of the skills that we've learned about budgeting. So now you can go and do your review assignment.